Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about a Fox News article. Before you click away, it is a very interesting discussion. So, Andrew Yang knocks CNN MSNBC for snubbing his $10 million from the Democratic fundraising coverage. And this shows how much the Democratic media does not like him, that the Fox News media has to cover this and point this out. So he raised $10 million, which is a lot of money. And when you compare it to Bernie Sanders, raised 25 million, Pete raised 19, Joe Biden raised 15, Kamala Harris raised 11, and then Cory Booker raised 6 million. So number wise, Cory Booker raised 4 million less than Andrew Yang, yet he gets a graphic. So he gets discussion, he gets coverage by CNN and MSNBC. That's crazy, right? I mean, this is actually just numbers. I think any kindergartner can say that 10 is more than 6. And if we had a graph that we could only include 5 people, we would not include the person who had 6. We would put the person who has 10. So CNN is not the only one. As you can see, this is MSNBC, where they have Cory Booker at 6. It's pretty bad. And this is evidence, mathematical evidence, that they are still slighting Andrew Yang. But he's making it, positive. And that's what I like about him. The video later today, I think the reason that he is so successful as a candidate and will be moving forward as well, and definitely in terms of raising money, he's already over Cory Booker, is because of his kindness. Like, he doesn't attack MSNBC. He's not overly upset about it. I mean, this is something that would really piss me off, right? Because I'm an Asian American. I own a business, and so there is kind of a difference between Asian American males and Asian American females. If you don't believe me, you can go on Tinder. Asian American females are the most popular, or it's people want to date them the most in terms of females, and then Asian American males are by far the least popular. Like way. Like if you look at the data that Tinder has accumulated, which is public and you can Google it now, you know that it is hard in America to be an Asian American male. To own your own business is difficult as for anybody, but I would say that it's especially difficult if you are an Asian American male. Now you will say, what about that dude Jack Ma? He's propelled by the Chinese government, and he lives in a country where everyone is Asian, like Chinese. So yeah, Jack Ma is awesome. So many of my non-Asian friends just point at Jack Ma and say how awesome. But like, that's a Chinese company in China. That's a lot different from being a Chinese. That's a Chinese business owner in China, supported by the Chinese government. That's a lot different from me, who lives in America and grew up in a mostly white, school system. So yes, I'm not like Jack Ma, and I don't think that there's any comparison. But when you talk about other Asian American business owners, there's not many of us. There's not many in Houston. I've gone to these entrepreneur get-togethers and things of that nature. So the fact that he's still so positive about all this stuff is really crazy to me, because I personally, and again, I'm speaking from experience, when you get slighted and it's super obvious that 10 is more than 6, and you're just like, okay, it's not even close. It wasn't like he had 9 and I had 10, and I could see that happening, or it was just the top 4 people and we didn't get to Cory Booker. But Cory Booker is on both of these graphics, and he's being talked about as a great fundraiser, when in fact Andrew Yang has raised more. And it takes Fox News, the very established Republican news network to point this out. You got, like, it would upset me to no end that this, and it's not only this number, right? This is obviously a very clear example where we can use math to understand, but there are many other examples where Andrew Yang does not receive the same media coverage, and I'll use Cory Booker or Camille Harris. Andrew Yang raised very close to what Camille Harris raised and sees on CNN all the time, in articles, and very dramatic, I guess, because he did attack Joe Biden, the unguarded Sleepy Joe. It does seem unfair. So there's two ways that you can, in my life, I've experienced two ways to deal with unfairness, regardless of why you believe it's unfair. Perhaps it's because of your economic situation. Perhaps it's because of your race, maybe your religion, maybe your gender. Maybe you identify as a non-binary and you think that's setting you back. Regardless of why you are being discriminated against, there's really two ways to do it. There's one way is to get upset and let it affect you and have a very negative impact, and that's the large majority of people do that, including myself. Or change it into a positive. And that's the unique part about Andrew Yang, is he never really gets upset. He never really gets emotional. I mean, clearly this is a slight to him. It's a slap in the face, right? 10 is bigger. Like, I can't explain it better than 10 is bigger than 6. 10 is bigger than 6. Why do you have a graphic of a guy who raised 6 when there's a guy who raised 10 during the same exact period of time? But he just tweets about it, makes, lets MSNBC know and CNN know. And that's definitely the better path. It's the harder path. It's the harder path. The Bible says that you should turn the other cheek. But how many people actually do that? I would probably say that a large majority of people know that they should. But that's how you make change, right? You don't make change by saying, oh, well, I felt left out. You left me out. Oh, and it's because I'm an Asian, blah, blah. People don't, that's not going to change anything. You make change by turning negative feelings into positive feelings and going to change other people's opinion of you. So my opinion of Andrew Yang has changed considerably. I thought he was a dreamer, especially his universal basic income. I didn't understand how financially that would work, and I, as a business owner, would just assume that I would be taxed into oblivion. But then I read the logic. I read a lot of what he was saying about it on YouTube. The thing is, he's pretty drama-free. Even the whole drama about firing that that ex-employee who said that she was fired because she was getting married, according to her own facts and information, it made no sense. She got a 6-figure bonus. The CEO at the time and the founder was married. The CFO was married and had the CEO had kids. I don't know if the CFO had kids, but that person was married. She was causing all types of trouble, trying to ask for equity before the company sold for $88 million to Kaplan. As I've mentioned before, I am a lawyer barred in New York City, and I work with Daniel DeWolf, who is a very famous venture capital. And the last thing you want to do, the thing that would dissuade an investor the most, is when you have a disgruntled senior level employee with no equity scrapping for equity. Because if you give her equity, you're going to have to buy out, and then she'll get paid when, in fact, she wasn't that useful, according to herself, where she left for 3 weeks and sales went up. Okay, well, I think we can figure out what happened there. And that's the most drama he has. And even that wasn't very dramatic. You have Camille Harris and her background and her story which I'm not going to go into detail about, but you can study it. It's very not great. No, it's not great. And she has lots and lots of coverage. Of course, you have Bernie Sanders, you have Elizabeth Warren, you have Joe Biden, and clearly Donald Trump wants the Bidens investigated, so there's a lot of drama there. There's just so much drama with every other candidate, especially candidates who... Cory Booker has a bunch of drama. When you want to vote for a president, I think one of the main things that you have to look at is who they are. And the presidency right now, I mean, all it takes is one moment to look at Donald Trump's Twitter profile and know that there is a lot of negativity. There is a very big divide. And it's tough. It's tough. As someone who has been discriminated against, and clearly so, I would say when you have something that is very, very line in the sand discrimination, 10 is greater than 6, and you react with it with the grace and the kindness that Andrew Yang has, that's pretty good. That is unique, because I don't see that in many business owners, and I myself would not have reacted in the same way he did. I would have been very pissed off, and I would probably say some things that I may regret later down the campaign, but it's just unfair, and hopefully you guys can see that. Anyway, hi guys.